Hello guys, this is This Gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Redstone Mechanic, the series where I teach you everything you ever need to know about redstone, ever. So, let's go ahead and get on with it. First, we need to teach you about redstone signal strength. So, right here you can see we have, if you look in my debug menu, which you can pull up by pushing F3, you can see the power right there. Right now it's 14. If we look right there, it's 15. So, redstone signal strength decreases 1 for every block that it travels. So, right here it's 15, then we go over 1, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And when it gets to 0, it does not decrease anymore, it just stays at 0 because that is off. 0 is off, anything above that is on, technically. So, let's go ahead and go over here, and you can see 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Well, why isn't this one count? Because it's not really a piece of redstone. It's just a visual thing to show you that these two pieces of redstone are connected. So you can completely ignore that when you are building. Also, if you put a slab here, it does not disconnect the two. But if you put a block here, it does. So right here we have 6, then it goes to 5, 4, 3, 2, and then to 1. So the side pieces of redstone, don't count those if you're counting the length that your redstone needs to travel or anything, just, yeah. Next we're going to move on to the ways you can produce redstone. So right here we have a redstone torch. This produces a redstone signal on all sides. You can see there, 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 and there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The lever is basically an on-off switch, so you flip it and it turns on. You can see it's strength 15. You flip it and it turns off, and it's strength 0. Next we have two types of pressure plates. We have the wooden and the stone pressure plates. Both of these produce a strength of 15 when you stand on them, and the wooden ones also produce a strength of 15 when you throw an item onto them, or when it's shot with a bow. The wooden buttons are similar in that they will receive power if they're shot by a bow, or you can just press them as a player. Either one works. Next we have the stone ones, or the stone button. This also just produces a pulse of redstone. However, it is shorter than the wooden button. Let's see if I can push it quickly. There you go. You saw they ended at the same time, even though I pressed the wooden one earlier. Anyway, these will also trigger for mobs or creepers, zombies, sheep, anything like that, so be careful if you're creating a base that uses pressure plates, that mobs can trigger them and they will get into your base and mess you up, so be careful. Let's go ahead and move on to the heavy and the light weighted pressure plates. So the heavy one is crafted with 2 iron, and this one is crafted with 2 gold, as you can probably guess from their texture and color. Both of these, if you step on them, will produce a signal strength of 1. However, they're not meant to be used for doors or like secret entrances or anything like that. I mean, you can, but that's not really what they're meant for. What they're meant for is to detect how many entities are in a given spot. So if I had 100 cows on here, it would make a stronger signal strength than just me standing on here. So those are useful if you're using, or if you're trying to create a mob farm or something like that. Yeah, we'll get into those later when we get on to mob farms, but just for now, just know that they produce a signal strength of 1 unless there's a ton of mobs on them. That's pretty much it. Next, we're going to move on to the trapped chest. Now, which one of these is trapped, you might ask? It's the one with the red circle around here. So trapped chests look slightly different from the normal chests. You can see it is very slightly red around the buckle or latch or whatever you want to call it. And if you open it, you can see that the light turns on down there. And that's because it creates a signal strength of 1. And if we come around to the redstone at back, you can see there's 1 signal strength and then 0. So I can't show you because every time I close the chest, it turns off. But by the fact that it only travels 1 block, you can see that it only produces signal strength of 1. Next, let's go ahead and go on to this. Now, this is an interesting concept that nobody really talks about in redstone. It's the concept of strong and weak redstone power. So strong and weak has absolutely nothing to do with the signal strength. They're two completely separate concepts, so make sure you don't confuse them. Strong signal strength is created by repeaters or comparators, and it happens when you put power into a block like this. So you can see the repeater kind of makes a little arrow like that. That means that it is pointing into this block. And then you can see right here, the arrow is pointing that way, so it's putting power into that block. So let's go ahead and flip this lever. And you can see that these redstone receive power, but this one does not. And that's because this repeater is putting strong power into here, which is able to power the redstone dust right here. This, however, this redstone dust is just putting weak power into the block, which is not able to power the redstone. However, you can see that the repeater is able to pull the weak power out of that block and put it into that one. So yeah, that's something that you should keep in mind when you're building with redstone, that redstone does not provide strong power that can power redstone dust on the side of a block like that. So I have a little demonstration set up here. So you can see this redstone's providing weak power to the block and the repeater's pulling it out and lighting the lamp up, right? Well, if I put a piece of redstone right here, you can see that it turns off. Why? Well, this redstone isn't pointing into the block anymore. It's not providing weak power there anymore. So it stops powering it. Now let's actually go ahead and set up one more little example real quick. Right there. So if we power that redstone dust, you can see that it powers the repeater. Why? Well, it's not really pointing into any side, so it decides to power all of them. If you had a block here, it powers that. If you had a block on this side, it powers that. Basically, when there's no connections on redstone dust, it just decides to power all four sides around it. So that's something useful that you guys should keep in mind. And always make sure that if you're trying to power a block with redstone, that it does actually face into the block, like that. So let's go ahead and move on to how to move parallel lines of redstone. So one way is to do this. You can have alternating repeaters and redstone on both sides. So that one works, and it only powers that lamp. Let's do that again. Only that lamp. And then if you power this one, it only powers that lamp. Now that works, but it's kind of annoying. So another way you can do it is just have a line of redstone and a line of repeaters. Now, this doesn't actually work that well because one side is going to be delayed significantly, as you can see there. Repeaters actually create delay in redstone, so we'll explain that more in detail in just a moment, but just know that repeaters create delay. So the easiest way and fastest to transport redstone long distances is by physically separating the two lines. You can either have them spaced out by one block, or if you want them to be right next to each other, you can elevate one and put a block on top of the other. So you'll see right here, these redstone lines are just going straight along into that block. If I break this block, you can see that they do cross over. So let's go ahead and place that block back. You can see that only this light turns on if we flip this switch, and only this light turns on if we flip that switch. If we break this block, however, both lights will turn on for both switches. So it's useful, or you need to make sure that you keep those separated if you don't want them to cross over. Another thing to note is that slabs do not stop the crossover of redstone. You can see the redstone still goes through there, and it still goes through there. So that's something you need to keep in mind, but yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to repeaters and delay. So, right here we have no repeaters, and it flips on and off instantly. Right here we have 1 tick of delay. Now, a tick is 1/20th of a second. Basically, redstone updates 20 times every second in the game. And each repeater will delay it 1 time, or each repeater tick. So right here, we have just a repeater that you just place down and don't right click at all. That is 1 tick of delay. So you can see it's slightly more delayed than this. And then over here, we have a repeater on 2 ticks. So if you place it and then right click it once, it sets it 1 tick longer. And then if you go all the way around to 4 and then right click, it goes back to 1. But right here, we have it set to 2 ticks, so there's slightly more delay. And then slightly more over here, and the longest you can get with one repeater on this one, which is 4 ticks. So this is 1/5 of a second, this is 3/20ths, this is 1/10, and this is 1/20th. So yeah, that's pretty much it for repeaters. I think in next episode we're going to be going over logic gates. So yeah, they're super useful for basically every single redstone contraption you will ever build that's more complicated than a door. Even doors can benefit from using them, so make sure you stick around for that next episode. I'll see you guys then. Until then, take care, make sure to subscribe, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.